Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So for today's video, I'm going to be making my first Christmas card for you guys. This is a Magic Iris Snow Globe card. So let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so today I'm going to make my very first Magic Iris Snow Globe. And I'm a little nervous, but I'm sure I can work this out. So I'm going to start off with cutting the actual Magic Iris out of just some plain white cardstock. I don't want to go too fancy. I'm going to ink blend it, so it's not, it will be fancy, but it won't be crazy fancy. So I'm just going to cut a bit of cardboard that I need. And then just run this through the die cut machine. Okay, and then while I've got the die cut machine out, I'm also going to cut a base, one of the base things. So hold on, I'll get this out. So that's the actual snow globe. I want to cut one of these base bits just out of some craft cardstock. So I thankfully had some ready to go. So I'm just going to cut that out as well. And so I'll cut that out eventually because I'll decorate this obviously. And I'll cut that out and we'll put it on there, and I'll put some wood grain on it so it looks a little bit cooler. So I'm going to start off with the inking. So this is one of the inside bits from when I cut out the ring. So I have pre-cut a bunch of stuff trying to sort of save some time. So I'm going to stick this down in here just so that it becomes part of the background. Because I'm going to stamp my sentiment on the background. And I'm also going to grab my 3 little sausage pieces because I need to ink those as well. So what I'm sort of thinking is nighttime kind of snowy scene. I'm going to have my peas on the outside, sorry, and then I'm going to have on the inside, it's going to say peas on earth, which I just think is the cutest sentiment in the world. So I'm thinking if I have Salty Ocean and Blueprint Sketch, that's going to look like a dark kind of night because I don't want it to look too dark because you obviously still want to play with it. So I'm going to start with Salty Ocean in the middle, and I am using an ink blending tool just for something different. I need a bit of scrap paper, which I have plenty of. And once I've got Salty Ocean in there, I'll bring in Blueprint Sketch on the outside. And the cool thing is it won't matter if I get any on the base, because we're going to cover that up anyway, so it'll help me kind of not make too much of a mess of this. I feel like for the actual blending I'm going to have to come back with my brush. I was thinking I would do this as less of my normal colours and I'd play with some greens, because I know blue is very normal for me. But then I was sort of thinking about it, I'm like, I was really comfortable with the blue, and especially if I'm not comfortable with the dye, which I'm not, we'll do this colour today and we'll do something different another day. I do love how the Blueprint Sketch does look a little bit purple though. It does give it a bit of a difference. Right, then I'm just going to bring back Salty Ocean with my blending brush just to do a bit of the middle again. Just try and blend those colours together. This is the Snowy Sky stencil. This is another one of the new ones from Lawn Fawn. I'm just going to tack this down for a minute just to stop it running around. I'm kind of debating if I want to do the snowy stencil and put some white ink on the top of it, knowing that my white ink isn't great, or if I just want to spritz it with water and just use those as the snow, which if I leave it for long enough I think will be the better choice. So I think we'll do that. So I'll move that off to the side. I will do it right. So I'm just going to ink up the other two, just using Salty Ocean, and I'm going to go really hard with the ink blending tool so it's that really deep colour. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll spray, and then I'll come back when it's all sprayed and ready to go. I'm really happy with the way the snow globe has turned out. I'm not so happy with the sausages, but I'm going to leave them for now, and then when I put everything together, that might make it look a little bit better. So I'm just going to give that a wipe, leave that off to dry, and we'll start assembling the magic iris. Now, if you haven't seen a magic iris be assembled before, I think I've done a video on my channel. If I haven't, I will link the Lawn Fawn one because I'm not going to go through it today. I'm just going to go ahead and put it together really fast, and I will be right back. My mechanism working pretty well. My biggest kind of hint with this is if it feels too tight, which sometimes it does when you sort of put these little ring stabilizers on, it feels a little tight and it will kind of get stuck. Pull one up, especially this one that's closest to where, this one where it is at the bottom. Pull it up, try and move it a little bit and then stick it down, because sometimes it just gets caught, and then just play with it a little bit. So that's why I've sort of been sitting here for a couple of minutes like doing this, because the more you play with it, the easier it gets to open and close. Now you will see along the way I added in some ink on the little stabilizer, on the little handle thing. I don't think I needed to do that, but I was worried if I didn't it would look silly, so I figured better to do it than not, especially then because you got to pull it apart, which is never fun. And I also added some just on the inside of the ring, because then it kind of adds in a little bit of, means you're not going to get a white bit on the outside. The only thing I am worried about now is that that's going to have a little bit of colour behind it, but I think I might just add a bit of white paper down the side. Alright, we've nearly got the iris bit ready to go. I do like now that that matches, but I think I'm going to cover it up, so it might not be such a big, might not be a problem anyway. So we're going to go ahead and do the base bit. So I'm just going to grab in one of my favourites. This is the wood grain backdrop stamp. I love this. It's so good because it makes anything look a little bit woody. I'm just going to get my big stamp block because it's the only one that works other than the Misty. And then rather than adding any coloured ink to this, oh no, I will. I was going to do it with my Versamark ink, and that way it kind of makes like a dark impression, but because I'm going to add a little bit of ink to it anyway, it does sort of make more sense to use ink. So this is Vintage Photo. I'm just inking this up. You see you get that nice sort of wood grain feeling. And then before I put that away, hold on, clean the stamp first, then put it away. I'm just going to let that dry for a sec, because I'm just going to come in and just ink up a little bit around the edges, just so that it looks a little bit darker in some spots. So I'm just going to grab the scissors and just cut along. There is a score line, which is harder to see now. There's a score line on here that I'm just going to try and follow around. It'll get covered up with that top one anyway, so it'll sit just there. And then we're going to have put these two, and these fit in along the tops of those. So I'm just trying to decide what colour I want to use with those. Might need to think on that for a bit longer. For the background, I do know I want to add in a bit of colour. So this is Let It Shine. This is the brand new paper pack that I got for Christmas. And I want to add in some green because the peas are going to be green. So it'll kind of bring that all in together. And I'm just sort of having a look to see if I want to do the green spots or the green stripes. So that out using the largest of my stitched rectangles. This is going to be the front of my card then. So we have card base, we have snow globe. That really looks cool with the green. And we've obviously got the magic iris in behind it. So I need to add in some white or some silver or something at the top. I need to add white in behind this. So easy thing to do first is add in that white, because I have plenty of scrap cardboard around the place. I'm also going to pull out the middle because we're going to heat emboss that in just a second. So I'm just going to grab this little bit of scrap cardboard. Now I could have used, if I knew where it had gone, the inserts that came out of it, because when it got cut it would have had those little bits. Now I actually do have one. I cannot, and I don't want to colour. I don't want to cut another one. So, oh no, I found it. So then to stick these two together, we just have to put a bunch of glue tape, and we can put it anywhere on here, which is a really good thing I think about this snow globe, is that it's not just a little bit of glue holding it together like it can be for some of the others. Just gluing the heck out of that. Put that in the closed position. Stick this down. I actually ended up not hating the snowy bit in the middle. It actually ended up being really pretty, so I'm happy with that. And then because we've got all that glue there, I can just go ahead and drop these straight into the holes. Alright, so for the background, it's obviously going to be a slightly different colour, but that's alright. I'm going to grab the Peas on Earth. I'm just trying to decide if I want to do Happy Christmas or Peas on Earth. I don't know, I feel like we don't say Peas on Earth that much, so I might just do the Happy and then Christmas, and the Christmas I'll just pull out of the offset sayings. This one's really good because the sparkles in the sky don't necessarily look like snow. They kind of do, but they don't have to be snow. They could be just like stars or something. Anyway, so it's going to heat this up. Just come at it from both angles so that it doesn't warp quite as much. Thankfully that didn't pick up anything when it dropped. Okay, so I need still to decide what I'm going to do with these. I'm kind of thinking a dark brown. I don't know if I've got anything dark brown enough. Hold on, I'm just going to check my stash. Haven't got anything dark brown enough, and the first thing I look at is just the perfect shade. So that was easy. So I'm just going to cut this out. I think this is Kmart cardboard. Just run that through the machine. And I like that this adds a little bit of detail. So we'll now have the sort of dark wood and the light wood, which is really cool. So I'll just bring in some glue. Oops, I'll just put a little bead of that along here. That's probably a bit too much glue, but it'll be fine. Alright, so let's start building this up. I'm going to have it in the middle, and I'm not going to have it sort of attached to anything. And stick that down on the top, and then we can start kind of working out where everything goes, because obviously our sentiment goes straight in the middle. So we'll stick this down first. Now this bit you do have to be a bit more careful. You just want to put the glue on the stabilizers because you want things to be able to move around behind it. This is something that's just annoying me because I'm a crazy person. There's just a little bit of one of the stabilizers popping out the side, making it blue, because I can't pull it apart to fix it now. So I've just made it a little bit blue so it sort of fits in. That way I don't think you'll notice it quite as much. Just lining that up, working out where I want to put it. Actually, before I stick it down, I need to put some foam tape on the bottom so that it sits up. So I want that to be solid. liquid glue or glue tape for this. I just prefer glue tape because I find it easier to wiggle around, but either or. But you just need to make sure it goes right to the bottom. So this is the hard part, so you've got to get it through all those little edges. So I'm just wiggling that into place, trying to make it straight. Then we'll put the little snow globe base on. Just line that up with the edges. I really like that base, that came out really well. It's a little sticky from all of the glue, but I can fix that later. And then I just need something to make this a little bit stronger. I don't like, it's just a little bit weak. This is where this little bit from the original die set comes in. I just need to decide what colour I want to make it. So I'm kind of tossing up between the wood of the wood grain or just having it white because it'll have that blue arrow behind it, and that'll sort of tie this in, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to cut a white one first, see what that looks like. Yeah, I think I like the white. So I'm just going to stick that on. So it's got the same curve as the handle, so you just line it up. Now I'm just going to put my little block on there just to help that dry. Just one other thing I'm going to do, so I haven't added any more, but I've just, the powder that was on that brush, I've just put that down over where it was really sticky, and then in a minute when that's dry, we'll go back in with an eraser and try and get rid of any of the glue. Alright, so we're done with the actual snow globe. Now we need to bring in the peas, otherwise the whole peas on earth thing, oh, happy Christmas won't make sense. So I've just grabbed a little bit of my blending card, my Memento Tuxedo Black, and a stamp block, and we're just going to stamp out the 3 of these peas that come in the set. And I'm also going to stamp out the little lantern. I'll work out where I'm going to put that lantern later. Now I always have trouble with these kind of more solid stamps. They always seem to end up a different shape, so I like to put it down on the mat, let it sit in its natural form, and then pick it up with the stamp block. That tends to help me get it straight, so when I cut it out with the die it actually works. Now I want these to be a slightly darker coloured piece, so I'm going to use G24, no I'm not, I'm just going to grab my Copic sheet and slightly darker piece so they sort of match the background here. So I'm going to use G07 and YG67. Now I also need to put in their little faces. So I'm just going to grab the stamp block that was holding that down before. There are a bunch of faces in here. So I'm going to get a singing face. I'm going to get 2 singing faces, and then there's like a little Santa face. Actually, I'm going to colour them in first and then put their faces on. So I'm going to put my dark marker down first and then come back with my light marker. There's my little peas. I'm just going to cut them out with the matching dies really fast, and then I'm going to work out how we're going to put these down onto here. That I started with, and the base of the snow globe. There it is. So I just want the very sort of this bit of the snow globe. So I'm just going to trim that out. I'm just going to grab one of the simple stitched hillside borders, just one of the really flat one. Cut that out about there-ish. It's very precise, there-ish. I'm going to trim, because now I can see those score lines. I'm just cutting just below the bottom one. Yep, I can do all three. And the little lamp post. I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow to the lamp post, just a little bit of Y11. It's a really pale yellow, but it'll add just that little bit of light, make it look a little bit more something. So if I put that all the way over here and put that behind it, I'm going to have to draw some legs on this little piece. He doesn't have any. So I have them sitting like this, and then like that. And then I might have, there's a little one here that says jingle, I think it says Jingle Bells or Joy to the Oh Christmas Pea. Or maybe just do some music notes. We'll do the music notes. So I'm going to stick that down, that base down first, and then stick down all of the little peas. I'm just going to do it flat. I'm just going to use liquid glue so I've got some time to wiggle them around. Plus putting glue dots on such tiny images is a pain. Do the Oh Christmas Pea because it doesn't quite fit, but I am going to grab, there's a little music note in this that I'm just going to put sort of up and around the place, just using black. I'm not going to go too crazy. Oh, I'm just being annoying because I'm nearly finished. All I need to do now is put this on a base and I'm done. Like there's so little to do, but I really want to use the sort of plate that's here. And I'm wondering if I can put the Oh Christmas Pea on the plate. It's kind of bent the wrong way, but I think I can find a way to bend it the right way. I'm going to stamp it, I'm going to cut it out first and then stamp out the Oh Christmas Pea on it. I'm using the blending card again because I'm going to try and colour it in. So there's a little plate. Because this is wavy, should be able to get this to wave the way I want it to. It won't be right, it won't be perfect, but we might be able to get it to kind of do what I want. So when I'm playing with these, I like to stick it down on the block and then just kind of manipulate it. You can do it like on some acetate or something like that. For me, that never seems to work. Grab YG28 and YG26, which has got these gold kind of colours. It's not quite the right angle, but I think it'll be fine. I don't like that blending though. I'm just going to cut myself another one and just do that again. I'm just going to colour it in first and then put the stamp down. But I'm just going to colour it all in 26. Much better. Sometimes you have to do things twice. Alright, so we'll just put a bit of glue on here. Stick that down, then I'm going to stick it straight onto a card base. I'm just going to go ahead and do that off camera because it will sped up. Because you guys have seen me do it hundreds of times, so it's not really exciting. After it's put on there, we go. I really like that. It's not it's not horribly complicated. Like, I know it took a long time. And I'm just trying to get rid of some of this glue because it's just driving me up the wall. It's not horribly complicated, but it's something special. And just one more thing I want to add. Just grabbing a little bit of C00 Copic, and I'm just adding just a little bit of shadow sort of around the pea, because they'd be standing, kind of thinking that the moon would be behind them. This will dry a little bit different. So just a little bit of shadow there, just to kind of make it a little bit more realistic, even though pea singing Christmas carols is completely unrealistic. That's not the point. I love that. And I had to use the peas first. For my first Christmas card on camera, it had to be the peas because they are just adorable. I'm just adding just a tinsy little bit of glue on the edge of that snow because it just wasn't sitting right. So there you have it. There's my first Magic Iris snow globe using the gorgeous Peas on Earth. I love the peas. I definitely will be using the peas again. This is obviously the first of my Christmas cards. If you enjoy the Christmas cards, please let me know because I will do more of them. I've been making them slowly off camera, but I would love to bring some on camera if that's something you want to see. You can leave me a comment down below, or of course you can find me on any of my social medias. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a big old thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you don't miss anything in future. I hope you have an absolutely awesome weekend, and I'll catch you in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!